it's important that Bitcoin do something to break all-time high, but at the same time retest previous resistance as newly established support. And the only way to do that is to make a move from here up, and the highest it can possibly go in that scenario, in that regard, is 87.5 or 88K. Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for almost daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is August 3rd, 2024, and we are going to make it. We're going to make it. We're almost there, okay? And I'm going to talk about why Bitcoin is where we thought it would be, at a support level, right? We're going to talk about why altcoins are also where we thought they would be with respect to the Bitcoin dominance chart. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get started. All right, it's been a freaking long time. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I want to start off, as usual, with the Bitcoin analysis, okay? And looking at the Bitcoin chart for the past, for the past month, it seems like it's been a lot longer, to be honest. It seems like it's been a lot longer than a month. Let's analyze. Okay, so Bitcoin goes all the way up to what we call the all-time high level. Okay, all-time high level is this. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's nominally all-time high, because that is chart and exchange dependent. What I want to see, or what I want to talk about, is the fact that we went to this all-time high level, right, and rejected off of it. So essentially, every single time we came to this level, we rejected off of it, and we clearly have a level of resistance. That's what I've drawn in as that dotted line, okay? After that was done, right, and you got an A, B, C flat correction right here, so 5 waves up, 3 waves down, and you came down right here. These past 30 days that I've recently, that I just mentioned a few moments ago, are just dealing with coming up and out of this ABC correction, okay? So I hope everybody's following up until this point. So what we have here, in my estimation, is a 3 waves, or sorry, it's a 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. It's an AB base, okay? And I'm going to show you why I believe that is. Okay, on the 4-hourly time frame, I think you can see this quite clearly. So here we have a first move up, okay? And then a correction all the way down to basically where you started. That's a clear flat correction, okay? That's one pivot, all right? Now you have here another correction, but it's what we call a zigzag. So if you can see here, you're coming up 5 waves, and then you're coming down 3 waves to the 0.618, pretty much, so to the phi ratio of these preceding 5 waves. So that's 2 degrees of AB basing. So first you start with a flat correction, then you have a zigzag, and this is your final, what we call pivot. Okay, 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. That's a pivot. It's another sort of, it's another AB base, if you will, right? It can be a flat correction, it can be a zigzag. In this case, it looks like it's a zigzag, because I have 5 waves up and 3 waves down to the 0.5 or 618 of these 5 waves. So all in all, once again, these past 30 days in Bitcoin have been one flat correction, one zigzag, two zigzags, 2 degrees of A, B basing, and a pivot, right? That's how I'm seeing it, okay? And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's 5 waves up, 3 waves down. We can do you a bit better in terms of trying to get specific as to why you get 5 degrees or 5 waves up and 3 waves down here, and what to make of this and how all of this plays together. Okay, so that's why I'm thinking that this is over, this correction is over, and what you can do is resume this price action right here that got you to this all-time high level, right? So you have your impulse, right here, you have your correction, you have your pivot, or you have your sort of consolidation, because after every correction you need a consolidation. You don't just up and turn around and resume impulsive price action. That's what these past 30 days have been. They've been tough, right? But in Bitcoin, that's why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. Next target for me is quite straightforward. Given my analysis, none of this is pure impulse, okay? None of this is pure impulse. Not this, not this, not this. So I'm waiting for a purely impulsive move from this level. And let's talk about this level, okay? It's not just the fact that you went 5 waves up, 3 waves down, came down to the 0.5618. This level of 60,000 is an important support. Why is it an important support? And I mentioned this in a previous video. The first thing that jumps out at me is if I'm looking at this as a channel trade, the whole thing as a channel trade, what jumps out to you? And I say this every single time on the channel. I'm just going to do this by hand to save time. But I think you can see it already without me saying it, without my saying it. You're basically retesting the midline of this channel. If you look at not just the past 30 days of price action, but the price action since late February, so that would be the past 160 days of price action in Bitcoin, you've been in a channel, and this channel has a clearly defined resistance, clearly defined support, and as a result, we have a clearly defined midline. Before leaving a channel, we know that you have to test the support. Done. Support's been tested multiple times. You have to test the resistance. Done. We have clear support, clear resistance, and you have to retest the midline. That's what I think is happening here. If you want to look at it sort of holistically as one large sort of one large price movement without breaking it down. This is impulse, this is ABC, and this is sort of your 2 degrees AB basing and a pivot. That's your sort of consolidation. Without breaking it down like that, you can simply look at it as a channel trade, and you went all the way to the resistance of the channel. You checked back to the midline. Now that you're at the midline, you're consolidating on a small time frame at the midline. The next move is up and out of the channel, retesting the top and going out. So back to what I was going to discuss, and let's just stay on this idea that this is one massive channel. Let's draw it in a little better. Guys, if you're getting value, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? Let's draw this in a little more nicely using our tools. So we're going to use our parallel channel, and here we have a nice channel with the well-defined support like so, well-defined resistance like so. Okay, we could do better. I did better by hand. Something like that, right? Yeah, something like that. Okay, anyway. So there's your channel-ish, right? And now if you were to move up and out, what I would like to see, what I would expect, is because I'm not going to mistake this right here as my initial impulse, right? I'm not going to do that, because to me, again, this is part of that, 2 degrees A/B basing and a pivot consolidation. I'm still waiting for my initial impulse, so I'm waiting for a move up and out, breaking this resistance finally, breaking the all-time high resistance conclusively, and then checking back. The only way you do that, right, is in a pure impulse, is in a purely impulsive move, and now we know a purely impulsive move cannot retrace upon itself more than the phi ratio, so it can't retrace upon itself more than 62% of the preceding move up. So we're going to take our Fibonacci retracement tool from the bottom here, okay, and bam, our target is 87 to 88K, because a proper check back to the maximum retracement level, which is the phi ratio in this case, would be back down to 69,000, 70,000, which is the top of this all-time high resistance. This all-time high resistance has been in action for, like I said, 160 days thereabouts in this scheme, in this area of the chart, okay? So very likely, very unlikely that you do not come back here, okay? So I think that, people are looking at 100K, people are looking at, high levels, and that's to come. But first and foremost, it's important that Bitcoin do something to break all-time high, but at the same time retest previous resistance as newly established support. And the only way to do that is to make a move from here up, and the highest it can possibly go in that scenario, in that regard, is 87.5 or 88K. Okay, that's why my next target is 88K for Bitcoin, and I'm seeing a move from here of about 44%. Okay, so 44% move in Bitcoin to 88K is my next target for Bitcoin. Okay, and I'll say this: if we do get that move, right, it should be coming very soon. Okay, it should be coming very soon, because tomorrow is the 4th of August, and the 4th of August should be the next new moon. What do we know about moon phases? And it's not 100%. It's definitely not 100%, but more or less, on a high degree of probability, to a high degree of probability, we see these play out. When you get a new moon, you typically get a local market high. A local market high meaning an apogee, a top of some sort. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin rallied 44% either for tomorrow, making a top tomorrow, Sunday, August 4th, or 3 days thereafter. So, right, the data shows that 0 to 3 days after the new moon event, you get your top. So that means anytime on the 5th, so 4th is a 0 day, 5th is the first day, 6th is the second day, 7th is the third day. So the 7th would be on Wednesday. So any time between tomorrow and Wednesday, I'm expecting that target of 87 to 88K in Bitcoin. That's 44%. Meanwhile, the altcoins, I'm expecting, not all of them, obviously, but mid to small cap altcoins, I'm expecting a 1.5 to 3x move. Just because this video has gone decently long, I'm just going to look at one altcoin, and somebody made a request earlier for Balancer, so that's what we're going to look at. And here I'm pulling up the chart for Balancer against Tether, okay, and you can see very clearly here that this has been a very difficult chart to trade. I mean, it's been a chart, a very difficult chart, or a very difficult asset to hold even, right? Look at this. This is a falling knife. This is a falling wedge. And it's been falling since 2021. Look at that. 2021, boom. You have a very clearly defined falling um, uh, diagonal resistance for balancer. And I've gotten a little more specific here. You can see here you have a level of support. This is now resistance, okay? And at the same time, so that's defining, sorry, I showed both lines, but let's try and do that again. So here my dashed line is showing clear resistance. You see that clear resistance on my dashed line, okay? So I drew that in because it was quite steady from 2021, mid 2021 to present day. I see a clearly defined falling resistance in the dashed line. In the dotted line now, I see a bit of support turned resistance, okay? So I drew both in, okay? And now I get a decent amount of data, a decent idea as to what the price may likely do. And why do I think I know what the price may likely do? It's because these lines of support and resistance are showing me high levels of probability where if the price hits, it'll turn around. If the price is below them, it'll act as resistance. If the price is above them, it'll act as support. Given that we're all the way down here and we're below both these lines of support and resistance, I believe that it's likely that one of them break and one of them bounce. Okay, I think that this dash line is going to break if we move. That's going to break this level of resistance. But because it's been resistance for quite some time, this dash line, I mean, you're going to come back and retest it as support. So that's essentially going to be one of those, diagonal trades where you break the diagonal resistance and you recheck it as support before continuing on. So that's what I'm seeing in balancer. So that initial move right here also falls within my predictions of 1.5 to 3x for altcoins, because if you measure that, right, approximately from where we're at now, you get about 140%. So again, 1.5x for balancer coming up to this dotted line and then bouncing back down to this dashed line for support. Okay, so on the weekly time frame, I'll give you an even more precise sort of price point. I'm seeing about 5.19, so $5.19 thereabouts for balancer, coming up to that level before finding resistance. Again, close to 140% move for balancer. Meanwhile, in that same time, I'm seeing Bitcoin going to 88K. That's a 44% move. And you'll ask, well, what are you talking about? Do you mean that altcoins are going to move more than Bitcoin? Yes, that's what happens in a scenario where you're bullish on altcoins, or altcoins are bullish and Bitcoin is bullish, and that's essentially what is meant by altcoin season. Now, to see this actually happen, we need this chart right here, this Bitcoin dominance chart, to actually break down, right? Actually, what happens is altcoins rally more than Bitcoin, and that's reflected here, not vice versa. This is pretty much the indication that that effect is happening. And so what we have here, I'm on the 4-hourly chart for the Bitcoin dominance chart, is a double top. Okay, you come, you find resistance at this level, You try again, you find resistance at this level. Here you have very strong and almost confirmed bearish divergence. Sorry, let's try that one more time right here. So again, you have a top. Let's clean this up so you can see the yet to be confirmed bearish divergence. Okay, so here is my top here on this stochastic RSI momentum indicator. Okay, and this second top yet to be confirmed. What does that mean? It means the K and D lines have yet to cross. K and D lines have yet to cross, but essentially on this chart right here, on the price action, you have a bit of a higher high, right? You see this double top? This top is a little higher than that top, but on this momentum indicator, the momentum of this top is far less than the momentum of this top. That's what we call bearish divergence, okay? And that's indicative of a likely move down in the chart, reflexive or kind of indicating, right, a move down based off of the momentum being lower. So that's exciting. And again, this market cap BTC dominance chart is essentially telling you when it's going down that altcoins are besting Bitcoin, are beating Bitcoin. So I know it's been a while, so that's why we're having a longer than usual video. I hope that was helpful and useful. Like, share, and subscribe as always. Hope you guys are doing great and your trades will flourish. We are going to make it. Don't forget, it's been a really, really, really long ride. I mean, just looking at Balancer, you know, and that's the one altcoin we looked at today, just looking at Balancer. And this has been in my portfolio. You can see how difficult it's been. This chart only goes back to 2020, okay, August of 2020. And in that time, in no period of time on this chart has this asset been in a bona fide uptrend. It's been pretty much carnage throughout, okay? And so that's 4 years of carnage, right? Since August of 2020, it's August of 2024. That's 4 years of down and sideways price action. That's painful. This is what, when they say you got lucky, when things turn around, show them this. Show them these kinds of charts. You've been around. I know it's hard. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's never going to turn around. And it's humbling as an analyst to, you know, come on here and talk about it and sometimes see things and get it completely wrong. But at some point it's going to turn around, and that's what we're trying to find, when and how. So yeah, we're gonna make it. Just stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. Don't give up, because you're so close, we're so close. All right, take care, guys. Bye.